Hey y'all, I'm Sade.
And I'm Matt.
And this is The Shack. While you're here, we're going to be reviewing some movies. We're going to start today off by reviewing Top Gun Maverick with yours truly, Tom Cruise. Let's start with you, Matt. How did you feel before we even started Top Gun Maverick? How are you feeling about it?
I'm not excited. I was not beating the door down to go see another Top Gun movie. I wasn't. It's one of those sequels that you just never asked for, and you didn't. If it never came out again, you probably wouldn't care. To me, and I wasn't like, oh my god, I can't wait till they make another Top Gun. Like, I wasn't thinking that.
Yeah, for me, I was a bit of a skeptic too, but I watched them like backwards. So I watched Top Gun Maverick first, and then I watched Top Gun, so I didn't have any like preconceived knowledge of what I was getting into.
Plot of the story of Top Gun Maverick is
this pilot who's been a pilot for years, you know, just kind of old, beaten down in the sense of like he's done this, he's lost a lot of people, like he's just like, you can kind of just read on his face that it's like, okay, it's a job. It kind of starts off with the fact that he's just reckless, you know, like I said, he's just kind of over it. He's just gonna do what he wants to do. He's always gonna push the limits. And so they kind of steps him down into like an instructor position. And that's when like the plot is that he just kind of teaches others, and he just starts to guide others and just sort of steps down himself. But you do get to see that he just still has a lot of heart. Like if any time they're in training and he feels like, oh, it's too dangerous or things are going all sorts of out of whack, he's very conscious of being like, let's just wrap it up for the day, or that's just like kind of it. Like you could just see his heart kind of come through and play out. And then like during the movie, you kind of realize that from the first Top Gun, he had lost one of his co-pilots, and then he was teaching his son. So it ended up being a really...
The son being the son of the co-pilot.
Yeah, of the co-pilot that he lost. Thank you for that. So to me, it ended up being just like a really touching piece. And it was more storyline based, like I said, than war based. It was more of about relationships. He was rekindling a romance from the first Top Gun as well. He was trying to build that relationship with his former co-pilot's son. He was trying to discover himself and build relationships with his students and discover himself as an instructor versus as a pilot. He's not in competition anymore. He's now building up other people to sort of not even be in competition, but just to be cohesive. So I thought it was a really beautiful, touching movie. And I was really a skeptic of just like, how is this gonna work, right? Like, how are we gonna watch a movie with people in planes? How are you gonna be able to grasp the audience with that? Are we just gonna watch the planes fly around in the air and listen to the commentary from inside of the plane? Are we gonna be able to see them all in the plane? So I was a little bit nervous as to how that was, but for me, I felt like the camera footage was spot on. Like you got to follow the people who were in the plane, and you got to see the planes as they were going through the sky. I even think there was one point, Mac, where we were watching it and you said that you were really impressed with the footage and how the camera was grasping everything.
And just like the cinematography in general was real good. Like the angles of the camera, the background, the color grade, everything. It looked really, really good. You know, it wasn't like we were watching Avatar or some shit like that, but it just looked good, you know? Yeah,
it absolutely did. It was pretty spot on. And then Tom Cruise, I was nervous about seeing anything Tom Cruise because I had just heard so many things lately about like his acting and his attitude while he's on set. But for me, it didn't really transcend over into the movie. Like I thought that he played his character really well. He looked like a beaten up, like it's been some years and I'm exhausted doing this, but just still like a loving, caring person at heart. Like I feel like he really played to the character that they wanted him to play to. I know that you kind of had a different opinion on that though, Mac.
No, I feel like I like his character, but I feel like Tom Cruise in all his movies is somewhat still just Tom Cruise. That's all. But it works in this movie.
No, I think so too. I think there are intense moments, but there was just other moments that were just like, they just played to the heart. I think they did a good job of anticipating the fact that like a lot of people have not watched the first Top Gun, especially because it came out so long ago. And so when they did do any referencing to the first Top Gun, they're definitely conscious of like playing clips from the first Top Gun along with it, which I felt like was super helpful in just following along.
we watched the first Top Gun as well, and we also have a review on that. So click wherever for that review if you haven't seen it and you're thinking about watching it.
What did you think about it?
I thought it was okay. It was like I said, there was a lot of references to the first Top Gun. And at the time, I hadn't seen the first Top Gun, so I had no idea what they were talking about. They were referencing a lot of characters that I just didn't know who they were at all. I knew the actors, but I didn't know who, like, where they fit in the story at all. You know, but it did a good job of explaining that so that you weren't lost if you hadn't seen the first Top Gun. And as far as just the overall story goes, I felt like the story was very deja vu-ish of the first Top Gun. Now that I've seen the first Top Gun, they're very similar movies. Now the storyline was, which is different from the first Top Gun. The storyline in this one is based on the cadets in training and their mission, and their mission that they're supposed to carry out at the end of training. It's not really focused on Tom Cruise as a character, or it's not really heavily focused on any of the cast as a character. It's more focused on the training and the mission. That's the story, basically.
Super drama.
There are bits where they give you a little insight into the lives of the pilots, but it's mostly focused on the training and the mission. That's the storyline, basically.
I don't really feel like you even got a lot into the lives of the pilots. Like, we know about that one person.
About one or two.
Yeah, being the son, and that's just about it. And even Tom Cruise, like, he had that rekindling romance, but that was just like, I would say maybe that romance got 15 minutes of screen time throughout the entire movie. It really definitely stayed true to, like, okay, this is what they're doing, this is what they're working on.
It's kind of the same thing with the son too. The backstory with the son of Goose, was it?
Yeah.
The son of Goose was about the same. Like, it gave you about 10 or 15 minutes to just like of them going back and forth about that. That's about it.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah.
I didn't give you a whole lot of depth when it came to that.
Yeah.
That's it.
And it's
I honestly, now I'm thinking back on it, I honestly am like thinking they didn't even like, you know, if you saw the first movie, you saw what happened to Goose. But they never, Tom Cruise, the son is in training with Tom Cruise, and Tom Cruise is a teacher. They never give you that conversation between Tom Cruise and the son.
No, they definitely...
They like silence it out.
And they played clips though, so they never... It was awkward tension. They never had that
conversation.
No, they never did.
They never give you the conversation between Tom Cruise and Goose's son.
No, they definitely never did. There was awkward tension between them, and you could like see that and you could feel that. But the two of them never spoke about it until maybe, I don't even think at all. Yeah, I would say maybe the end, but not at all. But you still didn't feel lost because they did play like flashback clips from the first one. Like I said, like they made it easy to follow along. I think they pretty much anticipated that a lot of people have not seen the first Top Gun. I mean, it came out in what, 86? So I think that they just kind of anticipated that everyone was, you know, younger babies or not born yet. And so they played those backflash clips. All right, y'all. So to sum it up, Top Gun Maverick, definitely a good movie. On a scale of 1 through 10, I would probably give it a 5. And I don't want you guys to hear a 5 and be like, oh my gosh, a 5 is good. A 5 is like, yes, I would watch it.
5 is average. It's middle of the road. It's not terrible. It's not the greatest movie ever.
Well, I would watch it and I would recommend it to other people.
5 is also, it's watchable.
Yes, but I wouldn't watch it twice or anything like that. So, but go watch it. Grab your friends. It's definitely worth the watch. And I definitely enjoyed it.
I'm going to give it a 6. I'm going to give it a little bit higher. Only because I probably would watch it again. If somebody, and not like go out of my way to watch it, but if somebody else put it on and it was just on, I would watch it. I'll sit there and watch it again. I wouldn't just be like, oh hell no, I'm not doing this. I'll watch it again. And it wasn't, the story wasn't the super great. The plot wasn't, there's a lot of things that made it not the best movie ever. You know what I mean? But it wasn't a bad movie.
Yeah, so, it wasn't bad.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad movie. Like, I put it on. I don't know if I paid $30 at the movie theater like what they're charging now, $40 with popcorn to go see it. Probably, definitely not, you know. But watching on Netflix, you know, at the house, yeah, I watch it.
For sure.
So I'll give it a 6, you give it a 5, and that's our movie review.
Yep, you guys comment down below. Let us know how it goes when you watch it yourself. And like we said, go ahead and click the link so that you can watch our review on the first Top Gun.
All right, like, subscribe, holla at you.
All right, it's The Shack. We're out.